When I began my scientific career, I was convinced that natural laws governed everything with mathematical precision. My experiments with vacuum and atmospheric pressure taught me that nature abhors emptiness, but I discovered something far more profound. Nature abhors the absence of divine intervention even more. After years of rigorous experimentation, I encountered evidence that forced me to expand my scientific methodology to include phenomena that transcend natural causation. Tonight, I present the empirical case for miraculous intervention, not as a retreat from scientific rigor, but as its ultimate application. The same probability theory that governs dice games can evaluate supernatural claims, and the results may astonish you. We'll examine documented cases where the laws of physics temporarily suspended themselves, explore why such interventions align with rather than contradict scientific understanding, and discover how recognizing miracles actually strengthens rather than weakens our commitment to evidence-based reasoning. The mathematics of probability, properly applied, leads us not away from the supernatural, but directly into its embrace. Chapter 1: The Scientific Framework for Evaluating Miracles. My approach to miraculous claims begins with the same methodological rigor I applied to atmospheric pressure experiments. A miracle is not simply an unusual event, it is a specific type of occurrence that violates established natural laws while serving a purpose that transcends mere physical causation. The key insight is that miracles, if genuine, should leave empirical traces just as any other event in the physical world. First, we must establish baseline probability calculations. When I developed probability theory with Fermat, we learned that extremely unlikely events do occur naturally, but with quantifiable frequency. A miracle differs from statistical anomaly in that it violates natural law entirely, not merely pushes against improbable odds. For instance, when I observed atmospheric pressure variations, some readings surprised me, but none violated the fundamental relationship between altitude and air density. The empirical evaluation requires three criteria: independent witness verification, violation of established natural law, and purposeful timing that suggests intelligent causation rather than random occurrence. Modern medicine provides excellent examples. Spontaneous remissions occur naturally at measurable rates, but instantaneous healing of advanced cancer, documented by multiple physicians using diagnostic equipment, represents a qualitatively different phenomenon. I've examined numerous claimed miracles using statistical analysis. The healing of my own niece Marguerite Purrier's eye condition, witnessed by multiple doctors and occurring immediately after prayers to the sacred thorn relic, exemplifies this methodology. The physicians documented the condition's severity before and after, eliminating possibility of misdiagnosis or natural healing. The timing, instant cure following specific religious intervention, suggests purposeful rather than random causation. What fascinates me is how this approach strengthens rather than weakens scientific methodology. By applying rigorous standards to supernatural claims, we separate genuine miracles from superstition, ultimately protecting both authentic faith and legitimate science from contamination by false claims. Chapter 2: Historical Documentation and Multiple Witness Verification. The strength of empirical evidence lies in reproducible observation by independent witnesses. My analysis of miraculous claims applies the same standards I would use for any scientific phenomenon requiring testimony, multiple observers, contemporary documentation, and absence of plausible alternative explanations. Consider the healing miracles recorded during the early Christian period. Unlike mythological accounts that emerged centuries after alleged events, we possess contemporary testimonies from hostile witnesses. Roman historians like Tacitus and Suetonius, who had no religious motivation to fabricate supernatural claims, nevertheless documented extraordinary phenomena associated with early Christianity. Their testimonies carry special weight precisely because they occurred within living memory of original witnesses. The multiplication of bread recorded in the Gospels illustrates this principle. We have multiple independent accounts from different authors, written within decades of the alleged event, describing identical details observed by thousands of witnesses. The specificity of detail, exact number of loaves and fish, quantity of leftovers, organization of crowd in groups, suggests eyewitness testimony rather than legendary development. My investigation of contemporary healing miracles reveals similar patterns. At Port Royal, I personally interviewed witnesses to multiple extraordinary healings. These were not credulous peasants but educated individuals, including physicians, who described precise medical details before and after intervention. The convergent testimony from independent sources, combined with contemporary medical documentation, creates cumulative evidence difficult to dismiss through skeptical speculation. The mathematical principle applies here. While individual testimony might be questioned, the probability of coordinated deception across multiple independent witnesses decreases exponentially with each additional source. When hostile witnesses confirm the same extraordinary phenomena, the likelihood of fabrication approaches zero. What strengthens this evidence is its persistence across cultures and centuries. If miracles were merely psychological or cultural artifacts, we would expect them to cluster in specific societies or time periods. Instead, we observe consistent patterns of extraordinary intervention throughout human history, suggesting objective reality rather than subjective delusion. Chapter 3: The Mathematics of Miraculous Probability. Probability theory provides our most powerful tool for evaluating miraculous claims. The key insight is that miracles are not merely improbable events, they represent impossibilities within natural causation that nevertheless occur. This distinction requires careful mathematical analysis to avoid confusing statistical anomalies with genuine supernatural intervention. When calculating probabilities for alleged miracles, we must first establish baseline rates for natural occurrence. Spontaneous cancer remission, for instance, occurs in approximately 1 in 100,000 cases. However, instantaneous disappearance of advanced tumors, documented by medical imaging, has no established natural occurrence rate because it violates biological processes entirely. This represents qualitative impossibility, not mere improbability. The cumulative probability calculation becomes compelling when examining multiple miracles associated with specific religious contexts. If individual healings occurred randomly, we would expect even distribution across all religious and secular contexts. Instead, we observe statistical clustering around particular religious practices, suggesting causal rather than coincidental relationships. My analysis of healing miracles at religious shrines reveals patterns that challenge pure chance explanation. Lourdes, for example, has documented over 70 officially recognized miraculous healings among millions of pilgrims. While this might seem statistically insignificant, these cases represent medically impossible cures, not merely unexpected recoveries. The baseline probability for such healings outside religious contexts approaches zero, making the clustering statistically significant. The timing factor adds another layer of mathematical evidence. Miraculous healings consistently occur during or immediately following specific religious activities, prayer, sacramental reception, pilgrimage. If these were natural remissions, we would expect random timing distribution. The correlation between religious activity and healing timing creates probability calculations that strain coincidence explanation. Furthermore, the quality of miraculous healings differs mathematically from natural recoveries. Natural healing follows predictable patterns and timelines, while miraculous healing violates these patterns entirely. This qualitative difference allows mathematical distinction between natural and supernatural causation, providing empirical criteria for evaluation. Chapter 4: Medical Documentation and Scientific Scrutiny. Modern medical science provides unprecedented opportunity for rigorous documentation of miraculous healings. Unlike historical claims that relied solely on testimonial evidence, contemporary miracles can be evaluated using diagnostic imaging, laboratory analysis, and multiple physician verification, creating evidentiary standards that satisfy scientific methodology. The Catholic Church's canonization process exemplifies this rigorous approach. Proposed miracles undergo examination by medical experts who are often non-believers, ensuring objectivity in evaluation. These physicians review complete medical records, interview treating doctors, and apply strict criteria for determining whether healing violates natural law. The process eliminates cases of misdiagnosis, delayed natural healing, or psychosomatic recovery. I've examined specific cases that demonstrate this methodology. The healing of Monica Besra, attributed to Mother Teresa's intercession, involved cure of stomach cancer documented by multiple physicians using modern diagnostic equipment. The medical committee included oncologists who verified the tumor's initial presence and subsequent complete disappearance without treatment. The timing, occurring during prayer to Mother Teresa, and the medical impossibility of spontaneous cure created compelling evidence for supernatural intervention. Neurological miracles provide particularly strong evidence because brain damage typically cannot be reversed through natural processes. Cases of instantaneous cure from advanced multiple sclerosis, documented through MRI imaging, demonstrate healing that violates established medical understanding. When such cures occur during religious interventions and are verified by neurologists, the evidence becomes difficult to dismiss through materialist explanation. The key insight is that medical documentation doesn't eliminate mystery, it quantifies it. By precisely measuring the extent to which miraculous healings violate natural law, we create empirical criteria for distinguishing supernatural intervention from natural processes. This approach protects both legitimate science and authentic faith from contamination by false claims. What impresses me most is how medical scrutiny strengthens rather than weakens the case for genuine miracles. By eliminating questionable cases and focusing on medically verified impossibilities, we create a more convincing argument for supernatural intervention than broad claims lacking scientific rigor. Chapter 5. The Physics of Divine Intervention. As someone who conducted extensive experiments with natural laws, I find the physics of miraculous intervention fascinating rather than problematic. The key insight is that divine intervention doesn't violate natural laws, it operates through principles that transcend while encompassing physical causation. Understanding this distinction resolves apparent conflicts between scientific and religious worldviews. Consider the multiplication of matter in feeding miracles. From a conservation of energy perspective, this appears impossible. Matter cannot be created from nothing within closed systems. However, if divine intervention operates from outside the physical system, introducing energy and matter from transcendent dimensions, the laws of physics remain intact within their proper domain. The miracle involves expansion of the system's boundaries, not violation of its internal logic. Water-to-wine transformation presents similar physics considerations. The molecular restructuring required involves changing fundamental chemical composition, carbon chains, alcohol formation, complex organic compounds. Natural processes could never accomplish this instantaneously. However, if divine agency can manipulate matter at the quantum level, operating through the same forces that maintain molecular stability normally, such transformation becomes theoretically comprehensible. The healing of organic tissues involves particularly interesting physics. Cellular regeneration, nerve repair, and organ restoration require precise coordination of biological processes normally governed by genetic programming and metabolic limitations. Miraculous healing appears to accelerate these natural processes beyond physical constraints while maintaining their essential character. This suggests divine intervention works through rather than against biological systems. Instantaneous transportation events, recorded in various religious traditions, challenge our understanding of space-time relationships. If consciousness can exist independently of physical embodiment, and if divine agency can manipulate space-time fabric, such phenomena become theoretically possible within expanded physics frameworks that acknowledge non-material causation. The crucial point is that recognizing divine intervention actually enhances rather than diminishes scientific understanding. By acknowledging causation that operates beyond material constraints, we create more comprehensive explanatory frameworks that account for the full range of observed phenomena while maintaining rigorous empirical standards. Chapter 6: Philosophical Implications for Natural Law. The existence of genuine miracles raises profound questions about the nature of natural law itself. Rather than undermining scientific understanding, miraculous intervention suggests that what we call natural laws are actually descriptions of divine consistency in governing creation. This perspective transforms our understanding of both scientific and supernatural phenomena. Natural laws represent observable patterns in divine governance, not autonomous forces operating independently of their source. When we discover mathematical relationships governing planetary motion or thermodynamic processes, we're actually documenting the consistent methods through which divine intelligence maintains cosmic order. Miracles don't violate these patterns, they reveal their ultimate foundation in personal divine will rather than impersonal necessity. This understanding resolves the apparent conflict between scientific determinism and divine freedom. If natural laws reflect divine choice rather than cosmic compulsion, then occasional departure from these patterns demonstrates divine sovereignty rather than capricious lawbreaking. The same intelligence that established consistent patterns can modify them for purposes that transcend normal physical causation. The predictability of natural law actually supports rather than contradicts miraculous intervention. If physical processes operated purely randomly, miracles would be indistinguishable from natural chaos. Only within a context of reliable natural order can extraordinary interventions be recognized as purposeful exceptions that serve transcendent goals. Furthermore, the rarity of genuine miracles confirms rather than undermines natural law's general validity. If divine intervention occurred constantly, we couldn't develop scientific understanding based on consistent patterns. The exceptional character of miracles preserves the integrity of scientific methodology while acknowledging its limitations in fully explaining reality. This perspective suggests that complete scientific understanding requires acknowledging both divine consistency, natural law, and divine freedom, miraculous intervention. Rather than opposing each other, these concepts form complementary aspects of a more comprehensive worldview that honors both empirical observation and transcendent causation. The implications extend beyond academic philosophy to practical scientific work. Recognizing divine agency behind natural law inspires rather than inhibits scientific investigation, as researchers explore the mathematical elegance and purposeful design evident throughout physical reality. Chapter 7: Contemporary Evidence and Future Investigation. Modern technology provides unprecedented opportunities for documenting and analyzing miraculous intervention. Digital recording, medical imaging, global communication, and statistical analysis create evidentiary standards that far exceed historical capabilities. Rather than eliminating miraculous claims, technological advancement enables more rigorous discrimination between genuine supernatural intervention and natural anomalies. Contemporary healing miracles at places like Lourdes now undergo extensive medical documentation using advanced diagnostic equipment. Physicians from multiple specialties examine patients before and after alleged miracles, creating comprehensive medical records that satisfy scientific standards. The International Medical Committee of Lourdes includes skeptical doctors who apply strict criteria for recognizing medically inexplicable cures. Digital documentation allows real-time recording of extraordinary phenomena, eliminating concerns about faulty memory or legendary development. Video recordings of alleged miracles, when combined with medical verification, create evidence that can be analyzed repeatedly by independent experts. This technological capability shifts the burden of proof toward more rigorous empirical standards. Global communication enables rapid verification of miraculous claims across multiple locations and witnesses. When extraordinary phenomena occur, they can be documented and analyzed by international teams of experts within hours rather than decades. This immediacy prevents legendary embellishment while ensuring thorough investigation. Statistical analysis of healing patterns reveals intriguing correlations that suggest systematic rather than random supernatural intervention. Database analysis of thousands of claimed miracles shows clustering around specific religious practices, particular feast days, and certain geographical locations, patterns that challenge purely naturalistic explanation. Future investigation should focus on developing more sophisticated criteria for distinguishing genuine miracles from natural anomalies. This includes establishing baseline rates for extraordinary but natural phenomena, improving medical documentation standards, and creating international protocols for investigating supernatural claims. The key insight is that advancing technology strengthens rather than weakens the empirical case for miraculous intervention. By enabling more rigorous investigation, modern methods help separate authentic supernatural phenomena from superstition, ultimately serving both scientific truth and genuine faith. Conclusion. After decades of applying scientific methodology to supernatural claims, I've discovered that rigorous empirical investigation strengthens rather than undermines the case for miraculous intervention. The same probability theory that governs games of chance, when properly applied to extraordinary phenomena, reveals patterns that challenge purely naturalistic explanation. Medical documentation, multiple witness verification, and statistical analysis create cumulative evidence that satisfies scientific standards while acknowledging realities that transcend material causation. The key insight is that recognizing genuine miracles actually enhances scientific understanding by acknowledging the full range of phenomena requiring explanation. Rather than retreating from empirical rigor, we must expand our investigative methods to encompass both natural consistency and supernatural intervention. The mathematics of probability, honestly applied, leads not to materialist dogmatism but to intellectual humility before mystery. I challenge you to apply the same rigorous standards to miraculous claims that you would demand for any scientific hypothesis. Examine the evidence, calculate the probabilities, and follow the data wherever it leads. True science fears no truth, whether natural or supernatural,